Celeste Hectors, a wealthy heiress, and Dorian Reese, the cold heir to a business empire, have been happily dating for 3 years. Their only problem is everyone else. Socialites want Dorian, wealthy heirs want Celeste, ambitious families want a merger, and even a charming transfer student arrives hoping to catch Celeste's attention. A secret alliance of rivals schemes to break the perfect couple apart through rumors, friendship, and carefully planned encounters. Everyone knew 2 things about Celeste Hectors. First, she was rich. Second, she was taken. The first fact attracted people. The second fact should have scared them away. Unfortunately, it rarely did. Sally. A hand slid around her waist before she could even finish stepping out of her car. Celeste sighed. There you are. Dorian Reese lowered his head and pressed a kiss against her temple like he'd been deprived of oxygen for hours instead of the 20 minutes since they'd left separate vehicles. The students walking through the university courtyard immediately started staring. Some openly, some secretly, most with envy. Celeste was used to it. Dorian, meanwhile, seemed completely unaware that other human beings existed. You texted me 6 times, she said. You took 8 minutes to reply. That's because I was in class. I know. Then why did you text me 6 times? Dorian looked genuinely confused. Because you didn't answer. Celeste pinched the bridge of her nose. This man. This ridiculous man. He was the sole heir of the Reese Group. 24 years old. Worth an amount of money that made financial journalists cry. And somehow, he still acted like a clingy boyfriend in his first relationship. Which, admittedly, he was. His first relationship. His only relationship. His last relationship, if his daily declarations were to be believed. You worry too much. I don't. You absolutely do. I just like you. Celeste stared at him. Dorian stared back. A beat passed. That's not a normal response. It is for me. He looked pleased with himself. She looked exhausted. Their friends looked nauseated. You 2 are disgusting. Celeste glanced over. A woman was approaching from across the courtyard. Tall. Elegant. Perfect makeup. Perfect smile. Perfect posture. Ruby Hart. Daughter of another wealthy family. A longtime acquaintance. And unfortunately, one of Dorian's many admirers. Ruby's smile widened when she reached them. Dorian. His expression immediately flattened. Oh. Celeste bit back a laugh. Ruby's smile twitched. Good morning. Good morning. Awkward silence. Ruby clearly expected more. Dorian clearly had no intention of giving it. Eventually, Ruby turned toward Celeste. I heard you'll be attending the charity gala next week. I will. Wonderful, I'll be there too. Something flickered in her eyes as she looked toward Dorian. You should save me a dance. Dorian answered before Celeste could. No. Ruby blinked. What? No. His arm tightened around Celeste's waist. I'll be dancing with Celeste. The entire night. Yes. Ruby laughed. Surely that's excessive. Dorian looked genuinely puzzled. Why? The smile on Ruby's face became increasingly strained. Celeste almost felt bad for her. Almost. You can dance with friends too, Ruby said. No. Why not? I don't want to. The conversation was dying a painful death. Ruby knew it. Celeste knew it. Everyone nearby knew it. Only Dorian remained blissfully unaware. Finally, Ruby excused herself and left. The moment she disappeared, Dorian relaxed. Anyway, let's get lunch. We just had breakfast. We can have lunch early. Dorian. What? You just scared off another woman. His brows furrowed. I didn't do anything. You basically rejected her. She wasn't asking me out. I am. Celeste laughed. Dorian looked offended. What? Nothing. He absolutely had rejected her. He simply hadn't noticed. As they continued walking toward the main building, dozens of eyes followed them. Some jealous, some admiring, some calculating. Most people only saw the surface. The wealthy heiress, the wealthy heir, the perfect couple, the golden pair everyone envied. What they didn't see was the growing list of people trying to wedge themselves between them. Some wanted Dorian. Some wanted Celeste. Some wanted access to their money. Some wanted status. Others simply couldn't stand seeing a happy couple. Every month, there seemed to be someone new. A classmate. A socialite. A business heir. An influencer. A family friend. The methods varied. The goal remained the same. Break them apart. Most failed quickly. Dorian was hopelessly obsessed. Celeste was stubborn. Together, they were annoyingly difficult to separate. But not everyone gave up easily. Across the courtyard, someone watched them leave. A handsome young man, leaning against a stone pillar. His gaze followed Celeste. Not Dorian. Celeste. A slow smile appeared on his face. Interesting. He pulled out his phone. A message appeared on the screen. Target confirmed. Beginning approach. Then he slipped the phone away and walked off. Elsewhere, another message arrived on a different phone. A woman sitting in a luxury car glanced down at her screen. Her lips curved. Dorian Reese and Celeste Hector's still together. Proceeding with Phase 1. The woman deleted the message. Let's see how long that lasts. Meanwhile, completely unaware that multiple people were plotting around them, Dorian squeezed Celeste's hand. What are you thinking about? Nothing. You look serious. I'm wondering if life would be quieter if we weren't rich. Dorian considered that. Then nodded. Probably. A pause. Want to run away together? Celeste burst out laughing. You have a board meeting tomorrow. We can run away after the board meeting. And just like that, all thoughts of trouble vanished. At least for now. Because neither of them knew that this semester would bring more interference than ever before. And some people were willing to do almost anything to steal what belonged to someone else. The first sign of trouble arrived on a Monday morning. Which was rude. Mondays were already terrible enough. Celeste was halfway through her first class when the professor walked in with someone new. A man. Tall. Well-dressed. Handsome in a polished, magazine cover sort of way. The kind of man who knew he was attractive. The kind of man who probably practiced smiling in mirrors. Class, the professor said, we have a transfer student joining us. The newcomer stepped forward. Xavier Laurent. Several students immediately sat up straighter. A few girls whispered. One guy muttered, of course he's handsome. Xavier smiled. It was a good smile. Professional. Charming. Dangerous. My family recently relocated here, so I look forward to getting along with everyone. His gaze swept across the room. Then paused. On Celeste. Only for a second. But it paused. She noticed. And she didn't like it. When the professor assigned him a seat, fate apparently decided violence was acceptable. The only empty desk was beside hers. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Xavier sat down. Looks like we're neighbors. Looks like it. His smile widened. I've heard of you. Of course he had. Everyone in the city had. I hope it was something nice. It was. The answer came too quickly. Too smoothly. Celeste had met enough wealthy heirs to recognize practiced charm when she saw it. The conversation ended when class resumed. Thank goodness. Unfortunately, Xavier seemed determined to continue it afterward. The moment the lecture ended, he stood. So, Celeste. No. Xavier blinked. No. No. I haven't asked anything yet. I know. Then why no? Because whatever you're about to ask is probably annoying. Several students nearby laughed. Xavier looked amused instead of offended. That was somehow worse. I was just going to ask where the library is. Oh. See, that wasn't annoying. Celeste sighed. Maybe she judged him too quickly. Second building on the left. Thank you. Then he smiled again. Maybe you can show me sometime. Never mind. Her first instinct had been right. No. The smile didn't leave his face. You're very direct. You'll survive. She gathered her things and left. Unfortunately, Xavier followed. Not in a creepy way. In a walking the same direction way. Which somehow felt even more irritating. So how long have you been dating Dorian Reese? There it was. The real question. 3 years. Serious relationship. Very. Do you love him? Celeste stopped walking. Xavier stopped too. She looked at him. He looked back. Completely calm. Completely curious. Like he was discussing the weather. That's a strange question. Is it? Yes. His expression softened slightly. Then I'll ask differently. He tilted his head. Are you happy? Before Celeste could answer. She's extremely happy. A familiar voice cut through the courtyard. Xavier turned. So did Celeste. Dorian stood a few feet away. Expressionless. Which was never a good sign. Most people feared Dorian when he got angry. The smart ones feared him when he looked calm. Because calm meant he was trying very hard to behave. Dorian. Celeste immediately walked toward him. His expression improved by approximately 20%. Not much, but enough. His hand found hers automatically. Only then did he look at Xavier again. Who are you? Xavier Laurent. Dorian Reese. I know. I'm sure you do. The air became awkward. Vast. Xavier remained polite. Dorian remained unimpressed. Celeste considered throwing herself into traffic. I was just talking with Celeste. I noticed. We share a class. I'm aware. We were having a conversation. I noticed that too. Xavier laughed. Dorian did not. The contrast was alarming. Finally, Xavier checked his watch. Well, I should go. A pause. Then he looked at Celeste. I'll see you tomorrow. No promises. He laughed again and walked away. The moment he was gone, Dorian turned toward her. Who is he? A transfer student. He talks a lot. He does. He smiled at you. Celeste groaned. Here we go. He smiles at everyone. He smiled at you more. Dorian. He did. Dorian. He definitely did. She poked his forehead. Stop. He caught her hand. Instead of letting go, he brought it to his lips and kissed her knuckles. Because apparently public embarrassment was his favorite hobby. Several students immediately started recording. Dorian. What? People are staring. I don't care. I know. That was the problem. He never cared. Not about gossip. Not about rumors. Not about appearances. The only opinion he seemed to value was hers. Which should have been sweet. And was sweet. Most of the time. The problem was that everyone else could see it too. Including people who wanted him. including people who wanted her, including people who wanted what they had. Across the courtyard, someone was already taking photos. The pictures captured Dorian holding Celeste's hand, looking at her like she was the center of the universe. An hour later, those photos landed in a private group chat. A group chat filled with wealthy young socialites. One message appeared. He's still obsessed. Another followed. This is getting ridiculous. A third message arrived. Then separate them. The typing indicator appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally, a response came. Working on it. Back at the university, Dorian was completely unaware. Or maybe he wasn't. Sometimes Celeste suspected he noticed more than people realized. Because as they walked toward lunch, he suddenly tightened his grip on her hand. What? He looked ahead. Not at her. At something else. Someone else. His eyes narrowed. Across the lawn, Xavier Laurent was talking to a group of students. But for just a second, his gaze met Dorian's. The two men looked at each other. Neither smiled. Then Xavier looked away first. Dorian's expression remained cold. What's wrong? Celeste asked. Nothing. That answer was a lie. She knew it. He knew she knew it. But he said it anyway. Then he looked down at her. The coldness disappeared instantly. Like it had never existed. Let's get lunch. You're changing the subject. Yes. Why? Because thinking about lunch makes me happy. Celeste laughed. And just like that, the tension broke. But as they walked away together, Xavier watched them leave. Thoughtful. Interested. Patient. Not the look of a man giving up. The look of a man just getting started. By Wednesday afternoon, the anonymous group chat had 83 unread messages. Ruby Hart, he ignored me again. Unknown, did you actually ask him to dance? Ruby, obviously. Unknown, brave. Ruby, he said no. Unknown, that's less brave. 3 dots appeared. Then another message. Londi Quinn, stop embarrassing yourselves. The chat immediately became quiet. Londi Quinn rarely spoke. When she did, people listened. Not because she was the richest person there. She wasn't. Not because she was the prettiest. Debatable. People listened because Londi had never failed at getting what she wanted. Ever. Londi Quinn, we've been approaching this incorrectly. Ruby, meaning. Londi Quinn, none of you are the problem. Ruby, thank you. Londi Quinn, Celeste is. Silence. Then. Ruby, I take it back. Another typing indicator appeared. Londi Quinn, Dorian Reese has no interest in strangers. He ignores compliments. He ignores flirting. He ignores invitations. He doesn't even notice when women are interested in him. He's hopeless. Several people reacted with thumbs up. Unfortunately, that was true. Londi Quinn, therefore, stop wasting time chasing him. Go after Celeste instead. The chat exploded. What? Are you crazy? SHE straight. That's not what I meant. Londi pinched the bridge of her nose before continuing. Become her friend. Separate them naturally. Create distance. No drama. No scandals. No obvious sabotage. Just become indispensable. The group suddenly became interested. A new message appeared from someone who had never spoken before. Xavier Laurent, that's actually reasonable. Ruby immediately replied. Ruby, why are you here? Xavier Laurent, networking. Ruby, you're trying to steal Celeste. Xavier Laurent, allegedly. Ruby, you're unbelievable. Meanwhile, completely unaware of the existence of what was rapidly becoming an organized anti-relationship committee. Celeste was eating cake. Specifically, a strawberry shortcake from the cafe across campus. Dorian was watching her. Not eating. Just watching. She put her fork down. What? You look happy. I have cake. I know. So, I like when you look happy. Celeste stared at him, then took another bite out of pure stubbornness. Across from them, their best friend Adrian made a face. I'm sitting right here. Neither of them looked at him. I'm a human being. Still nothing. I'm beginning to think I'm the third wheel. Dorian finally glanced over. You are. Adrian gasped. You admitted it. You bring your own chair. I have nowhere else to sit. Celeste laughed so hard, she nearly dropped her fork. 5 minutes later, someone approached their table. A girl. Pretty. Elegant. Holding 2 coffees. She stopped in front of Celeste. Hi. Hi. I'm Lily. I gathered that. Lily smiled. I thought maybe we could be friends. Adrian slowly lowered his drink. Dorian slowly looked up. Celeste blinked. As why? Lily seemed caught off guard. Because you seem nice. Celeste considered that. Thank you. So, maybe we could shop together sometime. Before Celeste could answer. She doesn't like shopping. Dorian spoke without looking away from his coffee. Lily smiled politely. I wasn't asking you. I know. I was asking Celeste. I know. An awkward silence descended. Celeste nudged Dorian's leg under the table. He finally looked at her. What? I'm capable of answering. I know. Then let me. He nodded immediately. Okay. Celeste turned back. Sorry, he's. She searched for the right word. Like that. Lily laughed. It's okay. Then she smiled again. So, shopping. Celeste thought for a moment. I actually prefer bookstores. Lily's smile froze. Bookstores. Or museums. Or staying home. Or taking naps. Every answer made Lily's expression dim a little more. Finally, she gave up. Maybe another time. She walked away. Adrian watched her leave. Then looked at Celeste. You accidentally rejected her. I did. Yes. I was being honest. I know. Dorian quietly reached over and stole the strawberry sitting on top of Celeste's cake. She noticed immediately. Dorian. What? Give it back. I already ate it. He calmly picked up his untouched slice of chocolate cake. Without hesitation, he placed it in front of her. You can have mine. Adrian watched the exchange, then slowly looked toward the ceiling. I want whatever psychological condition the two of you have. Across the cafe, Xavier Laurent had witnessed the entire interaction. From Lily's failed approach, to Celeste accidentally rejecting her, to Dorian surrendering an entire slice of cake because he'd stolen one strawberry. He rested his chin on his hand, then laughed quietly. Interesting. Very interesting. Most relationships cracked under pressure. These two seemed to respond to pressure by becoming even more ridiculous. His phone vibrated. Londiquin, report. Xavier looked toward the couple. Celeste was now eating both slices of cake. Dorian looked perfectly content, simply watching her. Adrian appeared emotionally exhausted. Xavier typed a single sentence. Current status, impossible. 3 seconds later, Londi replied. Try harder. Xavier smiled. He intended to. By Friday evening, Every influential family in the city had gathered beneath crystal chandeliers and golden lights. The Hectors arrived first. The Rieses arrived 3 minutes later. Someone in the ballroom quietly sighed. They're together again. Another guest looked up from her champagne. Were they ever apart? No. That's exhausting. Celeste adjusted the diamond bracelet on her wrist. You don't have to hold my hand. I'm aware, Dorian replied. Then why are you? I like it. She looked down. Their fingers were already intertwined. She had stopped trying to argue about 6 months into the relationship. Near the entrance, Ruby Hart spotted them immediately. She turned to the small group gathered around her. This is our chance. Londi Quinn took a sip of champagne. Don't make a scene. I'm not going to make a scene. Ruby smiled confidently. I'm going to make an opportunity. Unfortunately for Ruby, Dorian had already disappeared. Or rather, he had wandered exactly 3 steps away. Toward the dessert table. Celeste found him 30 seconds later. Dorian. He looked up. What? You vanished. I saw macarons. They're pistachio. Celeste pinched the bridge of her nose. A billionaire heir. Distracted by cookies. Across the ballroom, Xavier Laurent watched the exchange. He wasn't smiling this time. Instead, he was observing. Every movement. Every glance. Every unconscious habit. When Celeste reached Dorian, she didn't think before straightening his tie. When Dorian accepted a plate from a waiter, he automatically handed it to Celeste first. Neither of them seemed aware they were doing it. Xavier quietly exhaled. Hopeless. Someone beside him laughed. So you've noticed too. He turned. Londi Quinn stood there, elegant as always. They're comfortable, Xavier admitted. They're impossible. At that exact moment, the orchestra began playing. The host stepped onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the first dance of the evening. Applause filled the ballroom. Couples moved toward the dance floor. Ruby smiled. Perfect. She crossed the room. Dorian. He turned politely. Would you honor me with? No. Ruby closed her eyes. You didn't even let me finish. I know what you were going to ask. And I'm dancing with Celeste. You haven't asked her yet. Dorian looked genuinely confused. I don't have to. Behind him, Celeste appeared carrying 2 glasses of sparkling water. You were looking for me. Yes. What's wrong? Nothing. He held out his hand. Dance. She glanced toward the orchestra. Then back at him. We've taken lessons together since we were 16. I know. We practice every month. I know. We're literally going to dance at our wedding someday. I know. So why are you asking like it's uncertain? Dorian thought for a moment. Then answered honestly. I still like hearing you say yes. For the first time that evening. Londi Quinn blinked. Ruby looked personally attacked. Even Xavier looked away. Celeste was quiet for several seconds. Finally, she slipped her hand into his. Yes. The music began. Neither of them noticed the crowd. Or the phones pointed toward them. Or the whispers spreading through the ballroom. Dorian's attention never left Celeste. Celeste rolled her eyes when he stepped too close. Then quietly moved closer anyway. They fit together with the ease of people who had practiced for years. No dramatic declarations. No dazzling performance. Just familiarity. Just trust. Just affection so ordinary that it became extraordinary. Halfway through the dance, Adrian appeared beside Xavier with a plate of desserts. He watched the couple for a long moment, then picked up a tiny cheesecake. You know what the real problem is. Xavier accepted a macaron. What? They're boring. Xavier nearly dropped it. Boring. They communicate. Adrian took another bite. When she's annoyed, she tells him. He apologizes. No. He changes. Usually. And when he's jealous. She laughs at him for 5 minutes, then holds his hand anyway. Adrian sighed dramatically. There's no tension, no misunderstandings, no emotional repression. It's terrible television. For the first time all evening. Xavier laughed. I think you're right. As the final notes faded, the ballroom applauded. Dorian didn't let go of Celeste's hand. Neither did she. Across the room, Londi set down her untouched champagne. She had watched every second. Finally, she smiled. Not bitterly. Not sadly. Just knowingly. They were never the problem. Ruby frowned. What do you mean? Londi glanced toward the dance floor. They're already home. Ruby looked confused. They're standing in a ballroom. Londi shook her head. No. Her eyes lingered on the couple. They're standing wherever the other one is. There was nothing left to say. As the gala continued, Xavier slipped his phone from his pocket. The private group chat was waiting. Ruby Hart failed. Unknown user, again. Ruby Hart, again. A new message appeared. Everyone watched as Xavier typed. Xavier Laurent, I withdraw. The chat exploded. What? Why? Are you giving up? Xavier looked across the ballroom one last time. Dorian was quietly removing a flower petal that had landed in Celeste's hair. She was pretending not to notice. She was smiling anyway. Xavier typed one final message. You can't steal someone who has already chosen. He muted the conversation. And for the first time since arriving in the city, he stopped trying. The only people who didn't realize they had one were the two people everyone had been trying to separate. They were too busy arguing over the last pistachio macaron. At 8:03 on Monday morning, the entire university received the same notification. Breaking, Reese Eyre spotted on secret date with mystery woman. Relationship with Hector's heiress rumored to be over. Attached were several blurry photos. One showed Dorian standing beside an elegant woman. Another showed him accepting flowers. A third showed him smiling. Within 10 minutes, the story spread across every social media platform. Within 20 minutes, the private group chat exploded. Ruby Hart, is this real? Unknown user, finally. Unknown user, I knew they'd break up. Londi Quinn, wait for confirmation. Ruby Hart, why? Londi Quinn, because none of us have ever seen Dorian voluntarily look at another woman. At 8:31, Xavier Laurent saw the article. He zoomed in on the first photo. Then sighed. He recognized the woman immediately. Dorian's grandmother. Meanwhile, Celeste was halfway through a lecture. Her phone vibrated 23 times. She ignored it. It vibrated another 12. She ignored that too. The professor continued writing on the board. Students, however, were no longer paying attention. Everyone kept looking toward the door. Someone whispered, Isn't that? No way. The rumor. The classroom door opened. Every head turned. Dorian Reese walked inside. Still wearing a tailored black suit. Still carrying a leather folder. Still looking completely expressionless. The professor blinked. Mr. Reese. I need 1 minute. The professor, who also happened to own a considerable amount of Reese Group stock, nodded immediately. Of course. Dorian walked straight to Celeste's desk. Every phone in the room was suddenly recording. Celeste looked up. Dorian. Good morning. Good morning. He held up his own phone. There are rumors. There are. They're wrong. I know. Silence. 30 students leaned forward. Dorian looked thoughtful. Do we need to do anything? Celeste considered the question, then shook her head. No. Okay. Another pause. Do you want lunch after class? She glanced at the clock. I have another lecture. I'll wait. Okay. Okay. Dorian nodded once. Then he reached down, naturally intertwined his fingers with hers for exactly 2 seconds, let go, and walked out of the room. The entire exchange lasted less than a minute. The classroom remained silent for another 30 seconds. Finally, the professor cleared his throat. As I was saying about corporate governance, nobody heard another word. By lunchtime, every video of the interaction had gone viral. The comments changed almost instantly. Wait, that's it. They didn't even argue. He interrupted class just to confirm they're still together. She didn't even look worried. They discussed lunch instead. I'm deleting my paragraph. Inside the private group chat, morale reached an all-time low. Ruby Hart, I can't do this anymore. Unknown user, same. Unknown user, I skipped a meeting for this. Ruby Hart, the woman was his grandmother. A new message appeared. Adrian Park changed the group name. Relationship Recovery Support Group. 3 people reacted with crying emojis. No one changed it back. That evening, the Hectors and Reese families attended a small dinner together. Halfway through dessert, Dorian's grandmother looked around the table. I heard we're breaking up. Celeste nearly inhaled her tea. Dorian calmly continued cutting his cake. We're not. I know. The older woman smiled. I wanted to see your face. Dorian looked mildly disappointed. I thought someone had announced an engagement without asking us. The table went completely quiet. Celeste slowly turned toward him. What? Dorian looked back. If people are making things up anyway, they could make up something useful. His grandfather laughed so hard he had to remove his glasses. Even Celeste's usually composed father covered his face. Outside the restaurant, the city lights reflected against the river. The families said their goodbyes. Drivers opened waiting car doors. Celeste and Dorian lingered behind. For the first time all day, there were no cameras. No classmates. No rivals. No rumors. Just the 2 of them. Dorian slipped his hand into hers. What are you thinking about? He asked. Celeste looked toward the skyline. I'm wondering if life would be quieter if we weren't rich. He considered that carefully. Then nodded. Probably. A comfortable silence settled between them. After a moment, Dorian spoke again. Want to run away together? Celeste smiled. You have a board meeting tomorrow. I know. And an investor presentation. I know. You scheduled both. I know. She looked at him. So when exactly are we running away? Dorian thought for exactly 3 seconds. We can run away after the board meeting. Celeste laughed so hard she had to lean against his shoulder. Deal. He smiled. Not the polite smile from magazine covers. Not the practiced smile from shareholder meetings. Just a small, quiet smile that existed only for her. Across the street, Ruby, Londi, Xavier, and Adrian happened to witness the scene. Nobody spoke. After a long silence, Adrian sighed. I think we lost. Xavier shook his head. I don't think there was ever a competition. Londi nodded once. They chose each other a long time ago. Ruby watched Celeste laughing as Dorian opened the car door for her. Then she smiled too. Good for them. The black sedan pulled away. The city lights faded into the distance. And somewhere inside, the richest couple in the city was arguing over whether pistachio macarons were objectively superior to strawberry cake. Neither of them noticed that the whole world had finally stopped trying to separate them, because they had never spent much time thinking about the rest of the world anyway. The end. Thank you so much for listening to Dusklit Audio. Please leave a heart in the comments if you enjoyed the story.